I couldn't hear anything over the sound of my own heartbeat. It pounded in my ears like a war drum, a deafening rhythm that drowned out all other noises. My breath came in ragged gasps as I pressed myself into the darkest corner of the closet, my fingers clutching a small, cold object, a keychain flashlight, the only weapon I had. The house was silent, save for the distant creak of footsteps on the wooden floor. They were getting closer. I had been in here for what felt like an eternity, my eyes wide and staring into the pitch blackness, my body shaking uncontrollably. The door handle rattled, and I bit down hard on my lip to keep from screaming. He was right outside. I could feel his presence like a physical weight pressing down on me. This was it. The end. I squeezed my eyes shut and prepared for the worst. But before I tell you how I got here, let me take you back to the beginning. It was an ordinary Friday night. My parents were out for dinner, and I was home alone, enjoying the rare solitude with a bowl of popcorn and my favorite horror movie. The rain outside pattered against the windows, creating a soothing backdrop to the flickering images on the TV. I had always loved horror movies, finding a strange comfort in the predictable scares and the knowledge that, in the end, the good guys usually survived. But tonight was different. Tonight, the horror was real. It started with a power outage. One moment, I was engrossed in the movie, and the next, the screen went black. I cursed under my breath, fumbling for my phone to use its flashlight. I navigated my way to the kitchen, intending to check the fuse box, when I heard the unmistakable sound of glass breaking. My heart skipped a beat. Someone was in the house. I froze, straining to listen. The sound of footsteps echoed down the hallway, growing louder with each passing second. Panic surged through me, and I bolted for the stairs, my only thought to hide. I made it to my room and locked the door, my mind racing as I tried to think of what to do next. My phone was downstairs, and with it, my only means of calling for help. The footsteps stopped outside my door. A cold dread settled over me as the door handle turned slowly. I held my breath, praying he wouldn't come in. The handle rattled again, more forcefully this time, and I knew I had only seconds to act. I flung open my closet and scrambled inside, pulling the door shut just as the bedroom door burst open. I could hear him moving around the room, searching for me. My mind raced, replaying every horror movie I'd ever seen, knowing that hiding was never enough. But I had no other choice. I squeezed the keychain flashlight in my hand, a small comfort in the overwhelming darkness. The room fell silent, and for a moment I thought he had left. But then the closet door creaked open, and a beam of light pierced the darkness. I bit down on my lip, stifling a scream as the light swept over me and then moved away. I heard him mutter something under his breath, and the door closed again. I waited, my muscles tensed, listening to his retreating footsteps. When I was sure he was gone, I let out a shaky breath, tears streaming down my face. I couldn't stay here. I had to get out. Summoning every ounce of courage, I slowly opened the closet door and crept out. The house was eerily quiet as I made my way downstairs. I could see the faint glow of my phone on the kitchen counter, a lifeline just out of reach. I moved as silently as possible, my eyes darting around, expecting him to jump out at any moment. I reached the kitchen and grabbed my phone, my fingers trembling as I dialed 911. The operator's voice was a welcome relief, but I couldn't relax yet. I whispered my address, explaining the situation as quickly as I could. She assured me help was on the way, but I knew it would take time. I needed to find a place to hide until they arrived. I slipped into the pantry, closing the door behind me. It was cramped and dark, but it felt safer than out in the open. I crouched down, my phone clutched tightly in my hand, and waited. Minutes felt like hours. Every creak and groan of the house set my nerves on edge. I could hear him moving around, searching for me, but he hadn't found the pantry yet. I held my breath, praying he wouldn't think to look here. The sound of sirens in the distance was the most beautiful thing I'd ever heard. Relief washed over me, and I dared to hope that I might actually survive this nightmare. But then the pantry door flew open, and he was there, his eyes wild and furious. He lunged at me, and I screamed. The last scream, the one I thought would be my final act. But then there was a crash as the front door burst open, and voices shouted commands. The man froze, his eyes darting toward the hallway. In that moment of hesitation, I seized the opportunity and bolted past him, running towards the safety of the police officers. They subdued him quickly, and I collapsed into the arms of one of the officers, sobbing uncontrollably. It was over. I was safe. In the aftermath, I learned that he was a wanted criminal, a drifter who had broken into houses before, but had never encountered anyone like me, someone who fought back, who refused to be just another victim. The officers called me brave, a survivor, but all I could think about was the sound of my own scream echoing in my ears, a reminder that I had faced the darkness and lived to tell the tale.